Hello and welcome to the Sheep Seats. I'm your host, Matthew, aka Sheep, aka Dark Sheep. I've got a strung together setup here tonight, is having some regular PC issues, so I'm coming onto my camera. So if I sound a little bit different or look a bit different, or different angle, that's because. And we're here. We're here. The playoffs are here. All the teams are locked in. We got a bunch of friends joining us tonight. So let's bring in the first crop. We got Jason. You know him as Woo Woo J Train. What's up, Jason?
Oh, man, thank you so much for having me on. Nice to see you again.
Anytime, anytime. And you've seen him on Stacking Dingers. He's a former MLB staffer. We got Jay Baconator here. You see him in the Underdog streets all the time. What's up, Jared?
How's it going, guys? Thank you for having me on and excited to talk some playoff baseball.
Excellent, excellent. And he was planned on coming in later, but I see him in here already, so I'm just going to throw him on the stage. We got Mike Melch here.
Do it.
What's up, Mike?
Doing good. How about yourself? Just opening the first one of the night.
Oh, excellent, excellent. I've got tonight, in honor of the fall season, I've got some real Oktoberfest beer set up, so that's what
nice. My one of my groomsmen is coming to town, and he's originally from Oshkosh, so he promised me some spotted cow.
Oh, excellent! Yes, Wisconsin represent spotted cow. So let's go around the board. I have only gotten in 4 total drafts so far, and one of those was a Mets team. So I'm gonna catch up tonight. Jason, how far have you gotten so far?
I think I'm at let's see, 25. Yeah, I've got 25 in. So
All right.
I think 3 or 4 Astros teams, so they're dead for sure. But I think that's the only casualty.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Mike, how much have you gotten undone so far?
46, 45. And of course, I did have some Astros, and I was actually thinking about wearing my Altuve jersey, but I couldn't do it. And a few Mets, but that's okay. And then I have one where a quick emergency at work happened while I was drafting, and so it is like 8 teams.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations, Dave. I was in there with me. I'm sorry I sniped everybody, I'm sure.
Well, you're not alone. There's still always one person I feel like in every draft that's doesn't know the strategy. And Jared, what about you? Where are you at so far in your drafting?
I'm pretty deep, so I'm 110 in. Made it very far. I've been trying to kind of slowly chip away as soon as the contest dropped. I think I have about 10 to 15 dead Astros and Mets combos, but that's okay. It's the price you pay for trying to lock in some combos early.
Correct. So these are obviously smaller drafts. I don't know how many are out there watching, how many you guys want to get in, but I'm just gonna for tonight just run drafts. You guys are welcome to try and jump in now at the same time. Also, otherwise we'll talk about teams and stuff as we go along here. And yeah, immediately, see Jason got in there. And maybe if you guys get in the follow-up drafts, you can talk about what's going on. But if you don't know, if you're new to drafting playoff baseball, of course, we have to shout out the Pennant sheet built by Chris, our friend Baseball. He'll be on in a little bit later. And I have this new fancy thing that if you want to, of course, it goes right over my camera. There's a new StreamYard feature that allows you to generate QR codes. So if you want to get the link to this sheet, you just hold up your camera to whatever you're watching, and maybe this is preferred. You guys nobody has to see me as we go along here. But yeah, I'll throw that up there.
All I have to do to get the sheet is scan your face. It's not a bad deal.
Yes, it's smarter than me. So, all right. So we got a 5th position. Just run through here quick. In here, he's got Underdog rules, scoring, He's got the playoff format, so everything that is happening is in here in the contest. And then he's got some suggested roster constructions, and obviously all the playoff teams are locked in, so that needs an upset update. And then one of the most interesting things here is he's got, the actual teams as you're drafting teams. You can look at the rosters and stuff, because as you're drafting, you're on the clock. Let's start with the Toronto team just because we're talking. As you're drafting, you might have to scroll down to get to some guys, and that way you can look at the rosters and have an idea. So let's go around here. Jason, any early lean? Do you have a strong lean so far into the teams that you're taking?
I've found myself drafting the Padres quite a bit, and I'm going to do it again. I'm just going to go Tatis and J-Rod to start here. Obviously, Seattle's going to be like super chalk, so I'm probably going to have to find a different way to stack this. But I think San Diego's been probably my highest drafted team so far.
Okay. Let's see. So I'm just going to, for convenience here, we don't need to take George Springer, I don't think, right now. So I'm actually going to take a stab at putting out feelers into 2 teams right away. And obviously, as I'm doing 800 things at once, I picked 2 AL teams, which is not exactly how you want to start on a normal draft. So yeah, there we go. That's fun.
Sometimes you can
Jared,
get a little funky to get out of the first round, see what happens.
True.
Yeah, and sometimes you can kind of pair those 2 AL teams with those like kind of mini stacks with the bigger kind of NL full stack, and same thing reverse if you start it, with 2 NL guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So like example, take 3 of these Toronto, or 2 Toronto guys, 3 New York guys, and then follow up with an NL team that nobody is drafting at a certain point, which I feel like there's definitely, you can always go the Reds. I don't think anybody, even now that they're in the playoffs, they're going to be drafting the Reds. Jared, did you in your 110, do you have any Reds teams? And are you
I have 3. I wanted very minimal exposure as kind of everything was playing out, and now that they're playing the Dodgers, I'm going to avoid, I think, my biggest stand in my 110. I've been hammering Yankees and hammering Dodgers just because I think those are kind of the 2 teams with the best kind of advance rate World Series odds combo, where you have, the juggernauts who happen to not be getting buys. You get those extra points from the wild card game, and they get the great World Series odds on top of it. So that's kind of where I've been trying to focus, even though playoffs are variant. So I've been trying to get every single possible combo outside of a lot of the double buys.
Yeah. Well, we know in experience of playoff baseball, football, no matter the sport, if you can get an unknown team to the finals, or an underestimated team getting there to the finals, you have a huge shot at beating the field in the finals. 2 years ago, Diamondbacks being was that 3 years ago? I don't know. What is time anymore? Mike, what about you? Have you gotten to any Reds, or what are your big stands so far?
Only today have I actually been drafting Reds, and it was only once I saw the score of the Mets game on like the 5th inning. I'm like, okay, they're not coming back, and just watching all the sadness in the stands. But what I've been finding is, it's been easy if to backstack the Cubs a lot. They don't seem to be going all that often, in my opinion. I'm not super hot on them, but when you're kind of looking for a team to fill out your stats, that has always seemed to pop up, the Cubs or even the Dads at the same time too. So haven't made too much of a stand again. I actually have a pivot table to keep track of what team pairings I have to make sure I'm not having a big gap and trying to get some sort of balance in there.
Sure, yeah. I like that idea. Let's throw a stab. It's anybody have a read on Kyle Tucker? Is he going to be valuable in the playoffs?
I hope
He's
so.
the first guy
I
going
mean, he's
off
going to
the
be boom or bust, right? I mean, he's either going to get you a crazy amount of points and get you through, or he's going to flop.
Cade Horton injured. Sounds like he's at least out through. He's 15 days, so I think he's available to come back on the championship series. Anybody have? Does you think he's worth drafting at all? He's kind of the biggest bright spot pitching wise for the Cubs as they limped into the playoffs. Or
Is he gonna be able to come back from a rib fracture? Like, and not an injury specialist, but a rib fracture sounds like something that might take more than a couple weeks to heal. So I've been kind of thinking he's not going to be part of the picture. I don't know. Am I wrong? Probably.
That's kind of where I tend to lean as well. I definitely was taking him as part of my Cubs stuff before he got hurt, and now I'm gonna avoid it and kind of just play it through Tyone in the teams where I'm taking 3 Cubs. I think there's definitely a few guys that I want to take those kind of injured, do they come back shots on. But I've been kind of doing it on some of the hitters. Like I think I've been taking a good amount of Roman with a lot of my Boston stuff as kind of a 12th round outfielder, kind of hoping he comes back if they make a deep run. But I think I'm definitely someone who gets very concerned with pitcher injuries.
Yeah. Is that some secret former MLB staff or just general fantasy advice?
More just I think from the horror of seeing the constant stream of pitching injuries while working in baseball.
Yeah,
I think it's much more difficult, especially on such a quick turnaround for a lot of those guys to get back, and depends on how long they're out for. It's different if a guy's missed 2 or 3 weeks versus 6 to 8 or more. But I'm especially worried coming back into the playoffs after not having thrown in game action for a while, kind of what it's going to look like. Good thing about the postseason, though, is usually it's shorter stints, shorter outings. Teams are going to the pen earlier, so it's not like you need that guy to be built back up to throw 90 to 100 pitches. But I still definitely like to be a little bit cautious.
Yeah. Roman Anthony. Anyone else injury wise that we're thinking about as we're drafting these teams?
Will Smith for the Dodgers. His ADP has dropped so fast. He was in like the mid 30s while he was healthy, and now you can just kind of wait to scoop him up toward the end.
I will say the one bad part going Cubs of this stack is I don't feel super happy and already had the 3 outfielders. I don't feel super happy. I'd rather have a Suzuki here. So we might go outfield heavy on this team. If you're new to the format, each time that you need to score, you have to score only one of each position, one infielder or one outfielder. So the other ones are flex, so they can come from either position. So that's not necessarily a terrible thing. But yeah, I want to make sure I get Suzuki here. I don't really understand why he's so far down on this ADP list. I mean, they're all going about the same, but to me, like even over Kyle Tucker, it seems like Suzuki should be the guy.
For Will Smith, he's actually doing batting practice now, so I think he might be out for a little bit, but I think he's going to be there for the majority of the playoffs.
All right, so Jason, you continue your San Diego Seattle combination.
Yeah, this is going exactly how I wanted to go.
Oh yeah, let's take Michael Bush. I mean,
There you go.
I have a strict rule of never drafting Nico Horner, but maybe that's a bias. He did sort of chug along again this year.
I have a pretty strict never arise rule,
Mhm.
but like I'll hate myself if I do it. But I could see clicking him in this particular contest because I mean he could have 3 games in a row where he has 2 or 3 hits. Like I mean it's not going to have a horribly high ceiling, but just like getting a team to the finish line, like having a score from him maybe is viable. I don't know. It just popped in my head today because I will never click his name if I can avoid it. But if I'm doing a lot of San Diego stuff, I can't draft the same team over and over and over again. I probably should click him every once in a while.
Yeah, that's how I've been approaching it as well. I've been especially trying to get Bogarts while he was hurt. I mean, he's still kind of basically a free click at the end if you're stacking Padres, but Bogarts and O'Hearn were kind of the 2 late infielders for them. I've been going to over and over again, and then I'm like, oh, I need to mix in Arias just because, like you said, there's not necessarily the 2 homer, 6 RBI ceiling, but there are a lot of games where he can go 4 for 4, 5 for 5 with 2 singles, 2 doubles, score a couple runs, drive a few guys in, and it adds up. It adds up quick.
Yeah, and if Padres are getting there, he's getting at least some points, and in the final round, that could be all you need if it's an overall lower scoring sort of series. All right, so I did add Nico Horner. I'm kind of open to anything here. Let's go PCA. He's definitely going to be one of the most talked about, the most interesting guys to discuss going into next year. Jared, what's your outlook personally on the roller coaster ride of this year and going forward?
Yeah, so this is where I dropped my fun fact that he was actually one of my high school teammates. So I played with him my senior year, his freshman year,
Oh,
and
excellent.
even then you could tell right away just how special of a talent he was. I think for him, it's such a unique combo of speed, power, defense, and one of the best things about his game is completely worthless to us in fantasy. That center field defense doesn't do anything. But as we saw, this year with the 30-30 season, that's going to provide a lot of upside in best ball, especially when, his big games are 35, 40 points.
Yeah.
So I think I would probably guess he goes in the top 40 somewhere next year.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Let's see. So we got our team here. So we did go with the 3-team strategy here. We got two Toronto guys, 2 New York Yankees, and then a big Cub stack. So we have 2 outs at a World Series, and we have the ability to, let's see, I did not take the 3rd Cubs pitcher, so I did not build in the ability because you need to score 3 pitchers each round. So I would have to have one of these matchups. So even if this team got in and it was just Cubs, and that's where maybe we pull in this question here from Bjorn. Thoughts on 5 pitcher or 4 pitcher builds? This might have been I might have been better off going with a 5th pitcher here because that leaves me the World Series out of just a full Cubs team scoring.
Yeah, I think the 5 pitcher is definitely doable. I've tended to stay 4 just because I've been building in a little bit of an exploitative way where I'm really trying to exclusively build AL, NL, and just hope that I can, sneak something through that's the right World Series combo. So I've been trying to do, 3 pitchers from one team and 1 from the other. But I think there are absolutely situations where, like the draft you just did, if you're going, multiple teams from one league and you kind of want that 1-1-3 on your pitching staff, I think it makes a lot of sense. I also think if you're, building a team that might be one of the more chalkier combos in terms of World Series odds, where, they have a lot of aces on their staff, like Seattle. If, you want 2 Seattle arms when you're using them as a bring back with 3 from another team, I think it makes sense, especially kind of given the ceiling that some of these arms will have pitching in playoff games. So I've tend to reserve the 5 more so when it's that 5th pitcher is kind of not necessarily kind of an ace potential level arm where they have that ceiling game and you don't necessarily want to bet on just one. I think Phillies are another example with Suarez and Sanchez if you have both of them with 3 pitchers from an AL team.
Got it. Mike, where are you at in your drafts 4 versus 5 pitcher?
I'd say probably right now the majority is 5, but I've been slowly going back to 4. And I think most of it was default looking back on what all the lineups that I was successful with last year. Getting into the finals were all 5 pitchers, and that's why I was like, well, I can't remember what to do, so let me just see what I did before.
I mean, that's a good heuristic. If it worked before, why can't it work again? Crew pointing out here, 4 even with 2 bye teams. That also makes me want to do 5 with a wild card pitcher, and I have 2 bye teams. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense too. Getting some for sure. Likely the guy that's pitching game 1 of the wild card is going to pitch again for sure in the next round, and you'll get 2 starts out of them, which could be very valuable to getting your 2 bye teams through. It's a good thing. All right, I'm going to try and get in here. If you guys want to try and jump in this draft, we'll see. We are waiting for 4 people, so if you guys are around, want to jump in, go ahead. And we're full. All right.
Are both of you going to try and max it out, or you're kind of with only 5 or 6 now? It's going to be a bit hard.
Oh no, me no. I will. I'll probably shoot for 40 or 50 over the next couple of days. But I don't know what time limits. All right. Get Jason.
Good to see. It's funny. Another one of my good friends in real life is picking from the 3 hole right after me. I'm going to give him his shout out. He won the Wildcat today. So took down the 10K with a naked Mahomes.
Oh.
Wow.
I did very bad today. So congratulations, J Sam. That's awesome. Yeah. All right. Pick one. Is anybody not taking Ohtani? So I will ask if you are taking Ohtani. Is anybody avoiding Ohtani at pick 1? No. Okay.
I've seen people not take Ohtani at pick 1, but if I am picking first, I will be taking Ohtani every time.
Yeah, we really have a unique setup this year with Dodgers and Yankees, 2 teams that would be going in the first round, even if they had a bye, having no bye. So the chance, like you're saying, the World Series odds are probably the best, and the probability that they make it out and are a team that you want to have in the first round is so high. So it's hard to avoid. And I will say that this year, I don't feel as if the field is 3 people taking Dodgers. Whereas like a lot of the times, like World Series favorites in previous years, like 3 people in the draft room were jumping in. I have not seen that much this year, but I've only been in a few. Has the experience been the same or slightly different for you guys?
I mean, I've had a fight when I'm taking the Dodgers. If I take Otani, I know I'm not going to get every pick I want out of the Dodgers, to be honest with you. But that's just been my experience. And I imagine now that the playoffs are set, you're going to have a lot more people who don't pay attention to what's happening in the regular season, just getting in a bunch of drafts as fast as possible. So my guess is the big names like the Dodgers and the Yankees will go skyrocket up even faster on the ADP charts.
Yeah, I guess I was just saying it's 2 teams splitting the Dodgers rather in the past where like the huge favorites I feel like were 3 teams, and right now, being a a room of a lot of people right here, we are not. Nobody jumped in on the Dodgers for me, so collusion.
Yeah, I say most people are staying in their lanes, or they're just going completely chaotic and drafting 4 teams.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of times when you're doing a few of these in a row, you'll get the same person in the room, and you really should be paying attention to the names that are chaotic.
Yeah, one of the persons who goes in my drafts is actually in this chat right now. But both in the playoffs and the dailies.
Sorry, what was that?
I always see Baconator's name every time I'm drafting.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting. I think these drafts where playoff best ball is the main contest where you actually want a really sharp room because people will stay in their lane. They know what they're doing. They'll, you're kind of at the mercy of the random number generator and kind of, building out from whichever draft slot you get. And definitely there's going to be, multiple people going after the Dodgers. But I think the drafts that are the most frustrating for me have been the ones where you see kind of people coming in that are taking a lot of one-offs. And because the Dodgers have such a high ADP, because the Yankees have such a high ADP, they tend to be some of the kind of quickest one-offs to go. And then you can end up with, 4 people in a room that have Dodgers.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And I didn't really go through all the teams that were drafted, but it seems like nobody is really building big stacks of a few of the teams. We talked about the Reds. All right. I guess I'll take Mookie and Teoscar here, just assuming nobody's going to take a one-off Dodgers pitcher on me.
Kind of piggybacking off of what Jared was just talking about, like it's kind of hard, especially if you have multiple people doing it. It's kind of hard to see it happening until like the 3rd or 4th round or so. So if you're stacking up a team that's now kind of getting poached with these one-offs, I think it's kind of like, it's annoying, but I think it's fun to just use those opportunities to just kind of do some weird, pick some guys that you otherwise wouldn't pick as part of like your Yankee stack or whatever, like it makes you kind of go deeper into the pool if you've got all these one-offs. So I mean, it annoys the crap out of me, but I guess it's a fun opportunity to get a little creative. That's your only option, because if you follow them, like your team is dead, so you might as well try to make the best of it.
That's a good point. Yeah, skins over birds. That's why I was saying collusion here. We got we got a lot of smart crafters in this room. A lot of people that we know. Bar down, beat down. No, bar down, beauty. I don't know everybody else I know in this room. So we got a smart room, and that's kind of like what Jared was saying, that we this is the kind of room that we want in playoff best ball when we're drafting. All right. Speaking of rooms and people that we know, let's add Mr. Nez to the room. One more face in the crowd here. What's up, Nez? How are you doing tonight? And where are you at on your drafting of the Pennant so far?
Oh man, I've been like so entrenched with the NFL season that I'm just now getting started with the Pennant now that we actually have the finalizing of the bracket. But I'm gonna be blasting off for sure because I definitely am like an all or nothing guy at this point, given the amount of time that I have available and given how late I am to the party. But now that I have this information in terms of what the bracket looks like, I definitely plan on getting pretty exploitative and just like basically having a 1,500 or however many entries I can get in of just essentially treating it like a futures bet on like a couple teams or a team or a matchup, something like along those lines. So I have some angles that I'm going to try to exploit in that regard.
All right. So yeah, as shown with me not drafting much at all and Nez not drafting much at all the casuals are getting in now that we have the playoff matchups locked in.
That's right.
I'm just hoping Nez doesn't release a master class for baseball.
Oh man, no, I gotta have better results behind my name if I'm gonna do that. I can't be. I've already instructed people to take Bubba Chandler in 2 separate best ball tournaments. At this point, people would have to make me pay them to hear my baseball advice. At this point, I've steered people way too wrong. But when have the Pirates ever let anybody down, guys?
I mean,
never.
They
They've
usually
never
don't let me down.
It's the first time. But
Ever.
you got a nice little Dodgers team going here. I like it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna throw Pages on here, and then let's get nuts. Let's make this a Cleveland team.
It's cool whenever you do those onslaughts. I'm sure you guys have talked about this. I just like tuned in. I just got back from my sister-in-law's birthday party, and but like an angle that I haven't really thought about in years past that I definitely am now is doing like what you're doing here, Sheep, and just like completely taking on an entire team. And if I get to the World Series with this lineup and I don't have the right AL team, at least I have a full lineup of Dodgers ready to go. That's something I was never doing before, and now I'm like way more into.
Yeah, and you, I've said already, but you have to get in the right room to do that with the Dodgers. But
of course, especially now they have the wild card.
Right. Yeah. Well,
yeah, you're the first person I've seen be the only one to take Dodgers in a room. So it's, if you can get this team through, it might end up being unique.
Interesting. So that makes me wonder if I should just look at. I don't know who else is a great one-off from other teams. Could definitely think about doing like a couple guys from multiple teams, but I think I just want to go for the unique, bigger Cleveland part of a stack. I don't think people are going to be taking a ton of Cleveland guys together, much less, with a big Dodger stack like this.
American League's pretty interesting. Yeah. Like you're good. Yeah. This is just like at this point, this is just style points from here on out for you.
I will say it's also the first time I've been able to get all of the Yankees without anyone else taking Yankees. So
yeah,
that's
good lobby for both of us.
Yes. So we'll get the emails tonight that this outcome is too low of probability from all the drafts done so far, and it's thrown out. We were talking about injuries. Let's go back. William Contreras is also nursing. He's had a finger injury all season, but he did a few days ago get hit on a swing on the wrist. I think they're just have been cautious with him, but he has not been playing. So there's a non-zero risk that affects him as a hitter. Even if, he'll be back. That's just kind of the player he is. But there's a chance that might affect his hitting in the playoffs.
Man, the AL is pretty interesting. Are you guys given the way that the Tigers finished the month of September? Are you giving them a shot in hell to make any noise in the postseason? Because it feels really thin, but I've been wrong before.
I mean, anytime you get at least one game a series from Scooball, you're giving yourself a chance to steal something.
Yeah.
Most of the Tigers I was taking was actually when I thought that they were going to be getting the bye, and kind of have tapered off after this
funny.
cold stretch. Kind of the pros and cons of drafting early have been able to get some combos that are very difficult to get now.
Yeah.
But also have kind of the dead teams and the teams that have gone the opposite direction.
Right.
So that push and pull, I think, is always fun in trying to time out playoff best ball. I just knew I wanted to kind of give myself, a shot at sneaking one team through, and I wasn't going to have the time to do 150 today and tomorrow.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense, especially if you knew that you wanted to attack it. You had no choice but to get in there early and often.
Yeah, so we ended up with our Dodgers Cleveland team. Jared got a Milwaukee New York combo. Jared's friend got a Philly Detroit combo. Jason got a Seattle Milwaukee, and then longtime viewer Bjorn got a Toronto Chicago. Pretty much everybody's got a 2-team thing. This is the room you want to get in. So let's do another one. That's what we're here to do. And it instantly filled. So maybe not have. Yeah. So now we have some question marks here. I don't know. Now we've gone from me knowing everybody to knowing no one in this room. So this should be interesting. And this is the sort of draft where you want to pay attention at the end if you're going to hit a few drafts in a row and look at these players and kind of see how they're drafting and make sure you have a heads up as you're going forward. So let's run down, starting with Jared. What is your predicted World Series matchup, and what is your heart prediction that you would want the most?
So my prediction is Dodgers-Yankees, but the World Series I would probably want to see the most would be Seattle with San Diego. I think those are both, teams that have gone through a lot of so close yet so far for a while. And I think Seattle's been a pretty special team to watch this year. Obviously, Cal has had an incredible season. Julio got to 30-30. Their pitching staff is unbelievable. And they're snapping a very long drought of winning the division. So I think it would be cool to see them get all the way there. And then San Diego, Preller's been wheeling and dealing for years, and they just kind of keep coming up short over and over and over again in the playoffs. So I think it'd be fun for them to, finally sneak through and get a crack at it.
You almost want it just because it's good for baseball, because you want to reward a team like that for spending and not holding on to prospects like everybody else. It kind of, basically the opposite of the Brewers season. All right, Mike. You said you had an Astros jersey and you're wearing your Colorado jersey, so I don't think you have quite a dog in the fight right now. But what's your prediction and what's your heart matchup?
Someone's playing on my team.
Okay.
My prediction is Los Angeles and New York, but I like Seattle. Love to see them win, but I have this weird. I just want to see an Ohio versus Ohio game. I don't think it's going to ever happen, right? Well, not this year, but yeah.
That would be awesome.
That'd be kind of, it's like a couple hours, 2-3 hours drive.
What's the highway between Cincy and Cleveland? Because we had the Subway Series back in 2000. What is this? Is there like a turnpike? Could we call it like the Turnpike Trophy or something? Or I don't even know what
I've made that drive once and I don't remember what interstate is there.
All right, I'm about to ask Google.
It says Route 42.
The Route 42. Route 42 series. There you go. I'm also seeing 71 North. Looks like you can take 71 as well. The 71 series, that has a little bit of an alliteration. I kind of like that.
There you go. Trey Turner, as it's just popped in my head, another person coming off injury list just as the playoffs are rolling in. I'm not too concerned about him though, personally.
Good to know. That's how checked out I am on who's hurt.
That's all right. Jason, prediction, and who do you want instead of the prediction? Or maybe it's the same.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard to not say the Dodgers in the NL. I think it's gonna be the Dodgers in Seattle. I think Seattle's pitching is just way too good. I think it would be really fun though to see San Diego and Boston actually in the World Series. I think that would be really, really fun.
All right. So far, nobody's given the correct answer to the NL team in their Heart Series. Nez, can you get over or maybe you want to cheer for an NL Central team and you're going to pick Cincinnati, but where are you at on prediction? I know you said you're a little bit checked out, but you got to have at least a prediction.
I'm tapped in enough to make some predictions here. The mind prediction of who I think will make it is Yankees and Phillies, but what my heart wants is I want Seattle. I would really like Seattle to make it. I think they made really smart moves and everything that Jay Bacon was saying in terms of so close yet so far. They definitely deserve it. It would be really good for baseball. They have a long history of just really successful baseball players, just a very historical franchise. So I think it'd be cool to see them get there. And then on the NL side, it's certainly not the Brewers in my heart. It's not the Brewers. It's the Reds though. It's another NL Central team. I want to see Key Brian Hayes become a postseason riser and take the Reds to the promised land. That would be something. But I think the Reds, in all sincerity, kind of have spooky vibes if you're an opposing team, because Hunter Green might shut you down and Nick Lodolo might shut you down. Next thing you know, you're down 2 games and you're like, well, how the hell did this happen? To the Reds. And then Andrew Abbott, I don't know if he still has otherworldly powers on his side of being able to have success, but if he can reel that in, they're a team that could make some noise. They're just that kind of cheeky team. They sort of remind me of the D-backs a little bit in that regard, in terms of the vibes and having the pitching necessary to get there. So yeah, I think in my heart I'd like to see the Reds get there, because it would just make Ben Cherington look like a loser idiot for not trying harder.
All right, I'm gonna add Boston in as my second team here. That's fair. And the other thing when you're talking about the Reds and the vibes, a bunch of teams or teams that maybe not used to playing in Great American Ballpark, and the challenges there could creep into having, in terms of pitching and the opponents, a team that is used to pitching there definitely has a chance to show some like knowledge of the ballpark. Home field advantage is probably the easier way of saying what I was trying to say, but it's maybe even deeper.
But it requires that sort of like level of confusing nuance you just laid out because of the way the ballpark is. But it should play a little larger given the weather, but it's still a small park at the end of the day.
Yeah. Well, and my answer, I really think the Dodgers and Yankees are both set up really well, so that that's my brain pick. But my heart pick is Brewers and Mariners. I just was big Griffey fan and A-Rod fan growing up, and that was always Twins also were an AL team, but yeah. So for me, it's that, and I don't really have a ton of analysis in terms of the teams that I think are actually going to make it. That hasn't been said.
Yeah, two good teams. Anybody that you're like counting out completely?
The Reds.
Yeah. I don't blame you. I mean, like they're definitely probably longest odds for sure.
Yeah, I was, as I wasn't happy with the Brewers' play lately, but losing 2 out of the 3 to the Reds here at the end, and letting the Mets shoot themselves in the foot. I've got very bad memories of a season ago losing to the Mets in the playoffs that I did not want to have that experience again. So I think in terms of opening up the NL for the other teams, I think the Reds were the team that I wanted in. But you make some good points there, Naz.
Yeah, I mean it's just like that. I mean, if they're gonna do it, it's probably gonna be on the backs of like Green and Lodolo, standing on their heads out there.
And I say if you're drafting them, you're gonna be one of the few people drafting them if they actually go as a Red.
That's a good point too, right? I mean, there's just a ton of leverage in that because if they do hit, that you're gonna be one of the very few people actually taking that risk on. So that's something that intrigues me.
And you never know, Hunter Green getting a start in his hometown Dodger Stadium. He's going to have a lot of friends and family there. He's going to be amped up. I think it'll be a fun one to watch.
Playoff Hunter Green should be fun. It should be, but yeah, that is tough. That is tough going against the Dodgers, but it's going to be a good story for sure.
So I took Luzardo over Nola. I assume most people are doing that, but
I certainly am.
Yeah,
I don't know if any of you guys have seen any like official or even like projected rotation that's Sanchez, Suarez, Luzardo.
I'm sure Nola's probably 4th on that list. He might be like, especially because they have the wild card off, so they're not like forced to start him. He ended the season on a nice note. He had a pretty nice outing there in his last start, but like Luzardo, Sanchez, and Ranger have clearly earned more trust in my opinion, even though Nola's the veteran. It's just, I mean, the ERA is like still over 6, I think. So hard to trust, in terms of like hierarchy, him over those guys, I think.
I could see them doing something dumb like, oh, we don't want to have 3 lefties in a row. We got to have a righty to break it up.
Oh, I know. I know.
1992, but I could totally see them doing that.
100%. Like 100%. Yeah. Got to break up the lefties.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That'll
God forbid we have 3 lefties throw in a row.
They're seeing it well now.
So we have a pretty safe room outside of Rubberneck here at the end, but really did not affect us at all. They do have a decent Seattle stack and kind of built around it, but
Sheep, I'll let you know I'm in the overlay or the overflow with Jason here, and I have to pat myself on the back. I made a pretty savvy move of noticing that the 101 in our room was badgeless, and I mean no disrespect to our fellow drafters that don't have badges, but he took Aaron Judge 101, and I started off with 2 Phillies, and then I noticed he went Guerrero second round, third round Freed. So then that was my green light to build some Yankees with these Phillies, and I have a nice little Yankees stack going around some core fills because this guy is just vibing since he's got Scooball on this team. He took my Trey Turner, but he's got a couple Brewers, Kyle Tucker. He Luis Ariz.
Let's go.
He's just here to have a good time, which I totally respect.
Totally.
It's always good to draft baseball when the NFL is on. Because
right. Note to self.
Do you want to throw up do you want to share that screen real quick?
Yeah, sure. I can share this.
Yeah, those lobbies are always frustrating because not only are you kind of losing out on some of your stack pieces, they're also usually pretty high advance rate teams because they're just taking the best players from all of the teams that are going to be playing, those extra few games. So usually those teams can sneak out.
Yeah. They've ruined everybody's EV and they boxed everybody else out. It's 100%. It's so annoying.
If you want to min cash advance out of the first round, just play the best plays. If you want to win the contest, you draft it like we're hopefully all drafting it.
Exactly. And who knows? I mean, I definitely used to have a mindset of like, man, like I would love to get my money back on a draft, which obviously is like not the way to play these playoff contests. But, some people just kind of put, that perspective out there that there are people out there that are entering these drafts and just like their first thought is, man, I hope I get this money back. Like, as opposed to like, man, I hope I ship this tournament. And that could be what Mr. Messi is up to.
Well, I mean, he's living up to his name.
That's true. That's very true.
One thing I found myself doing, and I want you guys to tell me if this is dumb. So I've got a San Diego Boston thing, and Garrett Crochet is, one of the Boston pitchers or whatever. So, and just kind of forecasting what that World Series would look like. If Crochet is throwing, I've been avoiding like Cronenworth. I've been favoring like Bogarts over Cronenworth or O'Hearn because they're not going to play against Crochet, right? So like you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot by drafting that. Am I wrong there? Like, am I overthinking this by trying to like anticipate potential matchups and lineup changes for these teams that don't really have like a true static lineup?
Well, I mean, you could also say that if Crochet is going to pitch well, and then they're going to be good in the games when he's not pitching.
True.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I think the TLDR is like probably overthinking, but like the train of thought I think is like correct. Like I think the line of thinking checks out and is correct, but probably over. I mean, I love that level of nuance. That's not something that I was thinking about. But I like that, especially when you only have Crochet as that opposing starter. So in that regard, I think it makes a little bit more sense because
if they make the World Series and it's not a sweep, he's getting 2 starts at least. So just trying to think of like if this thing goes deep, how many times are they going to have to shuffle up the lineup to like try to avoid lefty matchup against? I mean, it really doesn't matter because it's Garrett Crochet. Like he'll dominate anyone, but I don't know. I just thank you for giving me a little insight there because I feel like it is kind of overthinking it, but also like I don't want to have a couple of guys who are just going to be on the bench for 2 games in the World Series against other teams who are going to have guys who are actually playing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I gotta be ashamed here. I was touting my ability to go deep on Cleveland with 3 of them, but we have a Valera last pick here on that.
Oh, that's awesome.
With a Logan
That's
Allen. So that
Bjorn,
is
baby.
deeper than even I'm willing to go.
I have gotten there. Earlier today, I drafted my first few Valera shares just because he's been playing against righties for them, and kind of, I think Jason was. I definitely haven't really thought of it, but I think it's actually a really smart thing to do. Of you're building combinations that you're hoping are facing each other in the World Series, understanding what those teams' rotations look like and kind of what platoon lineups are more likely to be played, I think makes a lot of sense, especially when, the World Series, because so few teams are going to be fully live with, a complete roster of World Series players. A single, a walk, those, 3 points can really make a huge difference in the finals.
Yeah.
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 I was just saying another interesting nuance here. Skins Over Birds saying, if we have the all lefty matchup of the Phillies, Ben Rice is gonna not really get in there at DH, and he's going to be, unless they catch him for a game. So there's another small, knowing a roster nuance.
That's true, especially on my team where I've got a ton of Yankees lefties, but I'm these are advanced rate pieces. That's the cope there. I just love this Yankees lineup so much that I'm just like I just want to get there.
And I think one of the things in the playoffs you'll see a lot more than the regular season is you're going to see a lot of pinch hitters. And so,
Right.
These guys that might not start against a lefty, as soon as they bring in a righty out of the pen, you're going to see them come to the plate. And unlike dailies, where if a guy's not in the lineup, he's swapping out, for these best ball teams, if a guy comes in and hits a pinch hit homer, you get those points.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that is, I guess, the cope of, taking guys who might be, the weak side of a platoon or, less likely to start more games. Teams are going to be substituting a lot more. You're going to see a lot more pinch hitters, shorter stints for starters. So teams are going to be going to the pen earlier. So there's even more opportunities for at-bats with pinch hitters. Every inning is leverage instead of just late in the game. So I think that shift in managerial tendencies could definitely help.
There's also going to be the issue of you wanting to play people who have a lot of playoff experience and they're not going to get in panic mode on the biggest stage.
Right, like an Aaron Judge, you want to make sure that you have teammates there.
I'm really excited for Brian Rocchio to hit another 3-run walk-off home run out of the blue and have none of this matter. Just so random how this stuff happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I do want to piggyback what you're saying. Even though they do go to the bullpen more often and pretty consistently who they use, you still do not want to draft relievers on these teams.
That is not what I was saying. I was 100% talking about the hitter perspective. I think, yes. I think the only exception is if it's that like fourth man in the rotation where for the DS, they might be pitching out of the bullpen because they won't need him to make a start. I think that is fine if, you're expecting them to start in the CS of the World Series. But yes, do not draft relievers. Do not draft guys that are only going to pitch one inning.
All right. Jason, I do know that you had to get out here at 8:30, so thank you for jumping on and hanging out. It was a blast. Anything you want to, anything you need to advertise or,
No, I'll planning on doing some streams again when the bullpen contest opens up. I'll be biting my fingernails in November, waiting for it to open so I can, draft George Valera in the 20th round in November or something. I don't know. I'll snipe Connor.
Didn't you're supposed to be drafting Bubba? Not all you have to do is draft Bubba to win.
Yeah, Connor Griffin too, right?
Come on, man. Don't give away my secret sauce.
No, you
Paul
do
Skeens
that on your own.
1-1.
Yeah. But this was awesome, guys. It was nice to meet you too. Nez, nice seeing you again. Sheep, same. Really, really appreciate you having me on. See you guys in November.
All right.
Peace, Jason.
Take care.
See you around.
Take care.
Jason.
All right. Anybody else need to drop off? I know, Jared, I had only told you 8:30.
Yeah, I can stay on for a little bit longer.
Excellent. So then let's get into another draft here. At some point, Chris B3 Isball should be joining us from a remote hotel location, and he should be able to draft with us. So when he is here, we'll throw him back in.
I'm very curious to know what his teams look like because I'm assuming he's done.
So he's got. Last time I talked to him, he was able to draft 100 teams within 2 days. He had a chance to get across the border, or he was no longer where he normally is, and he is once again traveling. So I think he might already have 25 of his 50 left done when he joins us. But yeah,
That's pretty impressive considering how slow these were filling for the longest time.
Yeah, he just entered 100 and left. I don't know.
I love it.
Yeah,
All
some of the fill times have been so slow. It's been frustrating trying to get them early, and you're sitting 10 minutes, 15 minutes waiting for one lobby to fill.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know part of why I wasn't drafting a ton was due to that. The couple of times that I was like, oh, I have time to sit down and draft. I'll enter a dog bowl draft and I'll enter a pennant and see which fills first. And, up until recently, that was dog bowl drafts, which have just been flying off the shelves. I'll talk about a hot commodity this year.
Yeah, people are frothy. People want to get to KC. I get it. Me too.
I lived in Kansas City for a bit. I'm good.
It's not that bad.
That's true. Just remember you buy your beer on the Missouri side and not the Kansas side.
Yeah, exactly. They got good food. There's a lot of good food down there. I can definitely help somebody eat their way around the city if that's what they desire.
Well, Underdog is going to give you a chance to. They're always filling you with food wherever you go. You don't even need to anywhere else. All right, so yeah, Nez, you're in here. Jared, you're in here. Pretty standard start again here. Eggs, Relt, and Baxter's.
Yeah, Baxter's is a wild card. Eggs, also a wild card, but Baxter's starting off with Vlad is interesting. If he goes Freddie here, okay, we might be in line for a little ADP action.
Yeah, and as annoying that is, lose Freddie. Oh well, Relt goes in for Yamamoto. I was going to say the one person I don't want to miss out on the Dodgers team right now is Yamamoto.
Right. That's that's tough, man. That is seeing this start. Yeah, it makes that Dodgers team you had obviously like all the more nuts.
Yeah. So let's see. What are we going to do with this? I think depending on what Eggs does here, as jumping in on New York. Oh, okay, Eggs is going for Cleveland.
Cleveland after taking Judge.
Wow.
Well, we'll see.
So we'll take Mookie. Nez already jumped on New York. That is an interesting sign. If I had wanted to try and jump in on New York,
yeah, I was just about to start queuing up Yankees, and then I saw Nez already took Rodon.
Yeah, I do. I love the Yankees, man. I really Really think this might be the year. Kyle Tucker. All right, this guy rules. Big fan of eggs.
We're all
tonight.
gonna be getting sniped later.
I'm having fun now. I'm sowing and then I'm gonna be reaping later. Do I need to take a Padre here? No, I gotta I'm gonna go Freed. Just because I'm just not sure. I'm not sure what you're gonna do, Jared. Because I'm sure that's tempting.
So,
No,
what are your guys' favorite ballparks?
What's that?
Like to visit, your favorite ballparks to visit?
I really liked. I love all the New York City, both the New York City parks. I think Detroit is like a sneaky favorite of mine. I really liked Comerica. Dude, Baxter's goes Machado. That was a rookie mistake on my end.
I enjoyed. Well, it was called Miller Park the last time I was there, but I was able to get $3 Hams beers.
Oh, that's perfect. At American Family Field.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my favorite. But outside of that, the two shoutouts are the ones that I've been to. Okay, this is a Scooble pick here for me, and we will grab Pies. I think here I should be safe with Detroit now. But yeah, that's actually the same for me, Nez. I really like Detroit.
Underrated.
There was like the design of the stadium is really detailed. Like there's like a lot of detail, and like the concrete columns have like baseball bats.
Yeah,
they're shaped like baseball bats. There's tiger statues everywhere. There's just like a ton of like love and design put into that stadium. It doesn't feel.
That's why I like. Yeah, that's exactly why I liked it.
Some of the modern parks are just kind of cookie cutter without a lot of like personality, but that
sure
was a modern park that had its own kind of personality.
Yeah, they like leaned into that stuff, which is what I really liked as well. That was like the selling point for me. I was like, oh, this is awesome. I love the way that they leaned into that stuff. Really liked the tiger statues everywhere, like you said. Yeah, just a really underrated place to go visit.
And out there in Colorado was awesome too. Got to go out there a couple years ago. That's an awesome stadium to visit.
Yeah, Coors Field rules.
One of the nice things about it is if you're tired of how bad the Rockies are playing, you can just walk out and go to the bars.
Exactly.
Yeah, mine is definitely Wrigley.
Yeah, Wrigley has that vibe too of Wrigleyville right outside. Like you can have a lot of fun after. Wrigley was really cool.
You know, I came in biased, but one time I've been to Wrigley, it just didn't. You know, maybe some of it. While there is all the history and stuff, there's also just a lot of inconvenience.
Have you been since they renovated it a few years ago?
I have not. No.
Yeah, they did a lot of work on it. I think maybe 3 or 4 years ago. So they really modernized it. It's a lot nicer now, but they kept kind of the historical feel. I think they did a really good job with it. So I've been a couple times in the last couple years, and it's great.
Okay, I'll have to get back there. It's also I just part of the inconvenience is getting there too, to the actual stadium. You know, I'm used to the parking lots of American Family Field, and
right.
The downtown parks are annoying in a certain aspect for me. But a downtown park I do like is Target Field. I think Target Field is also really cool. where it's positioned, and like if you go on the afternoon and you're sitting on like the third base side, the sun goes down on the buildings of downtown Minneapolis and stuff, and I do like Target Field.
You just want the parking lots for the tailgating, don't you?
Yes, of course.
Tailgating is just definitely a part of the experience for a lot of stadiums, right? Like that is definitely part of the experience.
All right, yeah. So skins over birds here. I did take Snell over Glass now because he is going to pitch first, and there's a higher chance of him getting 2 starts. I also, I don't know. It's an interesting situation because the one weakness that we can say that the Dodgers have right now is their bullpen. So when we have guys like Glasnow and Snell that we're sometimes worried about their efficiency and effectiveness over longer starts. That's an interesting situation. Whereas in years past, with a really strong Dodgers bullpen, they're going to go there right away. But that's really the one thing that's kind of let them down this year. So is there a chance that we see those 2 guys get more run? I don't know. Might still just come down to third time through the order penalty.
I just want to say Eggs is drafting an awesome team. Like not even like being funny. I really like the Aaron Judge anchor and then just like 2 unique pairings for the World Series. And just like maybe it's Judge versus Cleveland in the ALCS, and like Judge is kind of a like advance rate piece to help get those 2 teams there, and maybe it's a rematch of that World Series. I think that's a pretty fun way to play it, honestly. Getting like a unique anchor piece where most people are obviously building around Judge.
Absolutely, that's a great shout out. We laughed at to start, but and then the fact that they're building, if you're doing that, you want to build the bigger side of the Cubs. So you have a Cleveland Cubs and a Cleveland Yankees.
Yeah, just a little extra firepower.
And a Philly-Boston combo for you, Jared.
So what are you guys trying to do when you want to have 2 bye teams? Are you still going, or are you like switching to like a 3-team build to help get through?
I feel like you kind of have to. Like you have to have, like, I don't know the the minimum number of another team I would want. I mean, so obviously, these are 12-round drafts. We start 7, so you have 5 bench spots. I mean, I would basically say like minimum 3, and like even then, I don't even know if I believe that. I'd probably even stretch it to like 3 or to like 4 or 5 of like a third team, just because it's gonna be so hard to get that bye week team through.
Yeah, that's something I wish that we had more data on. I think that's one of the things that we just are going from our gut. But yeah,
right.
I'm to be honest, a lot of times I'm just avoiding doing 2 bye teams. I'm shutting myself out of potential World Series matchups, but with especially not maxing it and lying, like having the ability to cover all my bases,
Yeah.
I might just avoid it entirely, to be honest.
And probabilities would be on your side, I think. It's not like super likely that 2 bye week teams meet in the World Series. So, you just kind of giving yourself a better ROI in that regard, or at least like a theoretical ROI in terms of that.
Yeah, I have a couple, but it's mainly kind of from teams that I did not think would have
right.
the bye, where I kind of was, as the kind of Yankees Blue Jays situation was playing out, I kind of hedged and wanted to get a little bit of exposure to teams if Toronto gets the bye, teams if the Yankees ended up getting the bye. And then I think I have one Brewers Mariners team and one Mariners Phillies team. But from now on, I will definitely be avoiding double buys, just because the way I like to play this kind of style of playoff best ball is I really do like to play for getting one team of my 150 through to the finals, basically. And so I'm really trying to, stick to those 2-team builds. I know I said this earlier, and kind of really make sure that if it's right, I will have a full live roster of 12 guys in the World Series.
Yeah, I'm with you. At this stage in the game, now that we have this information, it feels incorrect to not lean on it.
All right, let's go and hit up another draft and keep the ball rolling.
Yeah, I like this. You at least can dwindle down the number of wild cards in a room whenever you get friends and family in here, which really helps a lot.
Was that your secret plan all along?
I mean, I'd be lying if it wasn't a benefit that I knew I was going to get tonight.
That's right. It's a breath of fresh air, honestly.
Yeah, and I think it's the fun part, I think, of playoff best ball, of given it's so variant. You're playing 3-game series, 5-game series, and 2 7-game series. Anything can happen, as we see year after year. And I think these lobbies, it's a lot of fun when everyone understands kind of the strategy. Everyone is kind of targeting the specific combos, and you're just battling it out to see who's going to make it out. But it's nice when you don't have to worry about someone kind of going off the board and taking combos that you were trying to target at the same time.
Yeah.
Very, very different experience than daily drafting, where you get into a room and you're with a lot of the same max enterers that are using the same projection sets, targeting a lot of the same similar stacks, where you're just kind of fighting over the same players.
Mm-hmm.
We're here in kind of the sharp rooms. People are really picking their 2 teams that they want to go after, and with more than enough playoff teams for kind of the 6 draft slots, it definitely helps.
And
yeah, for sure.
But we thought the previous draft was all friends and family. This is the 4 of us and a couple of viewers. So this one's definitely going to be marked for collusion.
Numi is watching closely.
I don't know how really he got up to watch the Vikings today. He might be already in bed.
I will say I've had kind of some crazy things happen, and I have not had any drafts canceled yet. I've seen, I think, one draft where someone took Johan Rojas in like the 2nd round.
Johan Rojas.
And it wasn't even a Phillies stack. It was just a random combination of like one-off pieces from teams. But a lot of like the bottom of the order, like low owned guys, it was interesting.
Yeah, like how does that happen? What's the thought process? Like, I'm always so curious.
I think that that's like a daily strategy brought into the wrong contest, right?
Yeah,
You're getting the low owned guys when you want low owned guys, but you want low owned combinations, and you want smart built teams more so.
Took scrolling up that a little bit too seriously.
All right. So
it's John's thesis playing out to the extreme.
Jared, you did jump in here.
I did.
Yamamoto, which is perfectly fine. That is the thing. Even in a short room, you still can build 2-team stacks if it's just one person and no one sniping singles.
Yeah, I couldn't let you get away with 2 untouched Dodgers rooms in one night. But I think now
you're protecting your other teams too. Smart.
The way that ADP is shifted, the way that I've kind of approached the turn now is whenever no one takes Freeman or Yamamoto at that 6-7 spot, I'll usually click them now, just because it kind of gives you, a pitcher and a hitter right away from the same team, and then you can kind of go anywhere from that. I can try to fight you on Dodgers pitchers and make it my primary. I could kind of go a different direction, which in this case I'm hoping to go in a different direction. We'll see what the room does. But it gives you a lot of flexibility. I know a lot of times when I've been trying to get some of my Brewers exposure, I've been taking the 6-7 turn, and then at that kind of 18-19 spot, taking Peralta and Churio, and just kind of trying to beat people to Brewers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I like starting a lot of the stacks, is being able to kind of start with that one pitcher, one hitter from a team, and then build it out from there.
All right. So I was considering to grab some Seattle here, but I don't think I'm going to do that with Garrett Crochet looking at me in the face. And I think I want to grab Pages here for a third Dodgers hitter. So I don't think there's going to be a ton of competition for Boston. You said earlier, Jared, that you were going with Roman Anthony a little bit. What do you have a read on other Boston players that on the fringe that you have been adding?
Yeah, so I think obviously every single Boston draft that I do, I'm trying to get Duran, Story, and Bregman in all of them, and then kind of for that 4th, 5th hitter, I've really been trying to mix it up. So I've been mixing in. I haven't gone to Nate Lau, but I've gotten to Romy, I've gotten to Roman Anthony, I've gotten to Sedan, I've gotten to Willier, I've gotten to Yoshida. Just kind of mixing and matching there. Really kind of just focusing on the guys that I think are going to be getting the most playing time in their lineup. Obviously, kind of, it's when you're stacking the same team, it's hard to avoid the platoon guys. But I'm trying, so much of it is because there's so few games, just trying to bet on guys that are going to be playing in as many games as possible, except in kind of the ceiling situations with the injured guys where I'm taking a lot of Roman Anthony as kind of that last Boston bat, because if he makes it back, he's going to be a unique advance rate piece. He's going to be hitting in the top of the order, and he has a massive ceiling. So I'm very willing to kind of take those shots, where I'm much less willing to take shots on kind of a more lower ceiling platoon bat that might be guaranteed to be healthy for the start of the playoffs. But I want some teams that have that late round exposure with some real upside.
Hey Mike, what's the craziest player you've added to a team?
On purpose?
Yes, on purpose.
I keep wanting to draft Mizrachi.
Okay.
But I don't think he's going to be in the rotation.
No.
No,
I
I
don't
drafted
believe so.
him like once or twice, and I kept looking. I'm like, oh no, that's not the best idea. So it was crazy, but it wasn't like a brilliant move on my part. I would say that. I've been kind of keeping to the normal top 2, top 3 pitchers, for instance, and I haven't really been worried too much about platooning as long as I think they're going to get enough at bats during the series.
Yeah. Jared, what about you? What's the most out there player that you've grabbed?
Probably Valera. I know I mentioned it earlier.
Okay.
That's probably the most out there I've gone. I think for me, I'm not really trying to take, a lot of those risks on, the guy that might start getting more playing time in the playoffs. I'm really trying to get the guys, not be too cute about it. Just stack the team with the guys that I know are going to be in the lineup, and then, hope I get lucky. But yeah, there are some fun kind of high upside, low own flyers for a few teams.
Yeah, I saw Jason in his Brewers stack earlier. Took Isaac Collins. That he's going deep on the Brewers team there. Who much to my chagrin, I was touting the the NL Rookie of the Year bet there on Isaac Collins, which at a certain point of the season it made a ton of sense, but the injury to Sean Murphy, giving Drake Baldwin, and just how bad the Braves were, and giving Drake Baldwin just the complete runway to playing time, really shut him out. Because not surprisingly, Drake Baldwin's just a better hitter and a more splashier hitter, and the Collins thing was definitely he was running hotter than he should be, and the odds weren't quite right when I thought it was a good bet.
I mean, it was not a bad call. He had a great season.
Yeah, and absolutely a big factor for them to get where they're at. I mean, that was a thing about the team in general. I was going to add a Boston outfielder with Ohtani. I think I want to add an infielder. So we're going to add Trevor Story. At certain points for the Brewers this year, just everybody had a period where almost everybody had like a contribution for a few weeks at a time. So that was more so than anything. I think they never got cold because they always had one person that was hitting them beyond their means. When you're looking back on the season, plenty of people have written articles and stuff. Oh, the Brewers are doing it the right way, and I think they just it's pretty easy for me to see it. They got pretty lucky over the season too. That helped a lot.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's what you need over 162. I mean, you're playing every day. You're just hoping that enough breaks your way over time. And, you have a lot of these guys that can get hotter than the sun for a 2-3 week stretch. And then you kind of never hear from them again. I think the best example is Brian LaHare, that 1 year with the Cubs where he had maybe one of the greatest first halves, was an all-star, and then struggled second half. And then within a year was out of the majors and playing overseas. It's, you can find some guys that catch lightning in a bottle, and hopefully we can draft a few of those guys that do it in the playoffs.
Wow, that is a guy that I totally forgot about. Had not heard that name in a while.
He's a minor league manager now, actually.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, back when I was working in baseball, he was managing one of the teams that we played against on an Arizona backfield.
Huh.
That's awesome. So you said, you hadn't got too crazy, but I see a Michael Conforto sitting there at the end of your roster. There is that new, or is that not one you consider crazy?
That's not one that I consider crazy, given how many rooms are fighting over Dodgers, and especially kind of for me, I wanted to kind of round it out with another outfielder. So I think Edman and Conforto are definitely the lowest in the Dodgers order I've gone. But I think those teams like that have, such the high World Series odds, and you're going to have, 2, maybe 3 people fighting over them in a room. You might have to dip to that part of the order, even for a platoon guy. So I don't consider it too crazy. I've seen him go a lot, but I'm definitely, not taking him unless I have to, when there's no other Dodgers bats available.
My dog can't decide if she wants to be in the room or not. So if you're wondering what's going on in the background, she is back. She's laying on the bed. She's back. Nez, you went with the 3-team build here.
I did.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah, this is definitely a wacky one, but I went with a Brewers Blue Jays combo. Don't think you're going to see a whole lot of this built, postseason picture lock. And if this does exist in the field, is this even set up to advance? But I don't think any other ones are set up to advance. So this is a Brewers Blue Jays with Reds advance piece. So the cumulative ownership on this build is just minuscule as hell. But, the thesis is Reds upset the Dodgers, preferably in 3 games, to help rack up some points there from my Reds pieces. And then Brewers and Blue Jays, the guys that I have, rack up some points. And then I take a really low-owned Brewers and Blue Jays World Series matchup to the finals. Super, super thin, but hey, if you're going to do it, I feel like this is one way to do it, is kind of attach a bet on another team to get there, preferably one on the other end of the bracket as well.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about, the 3-team 2-buy build earlier.
Yep.
One other thing I noticed here on this draft, Bjorn took Schlitter here. Is he number 3 for the Yankees?
Yeah, he's slated to be. That's what it seems like. It seems like it'll be Rodon, Fried, then Schlittler, and then it's still kind of unclear if it's going to be Heel or Warren for that 4th spot in the CS and World Series. I've been kind of mixing those two if I need that 3rd Yankees pitcher, if someone else is fighting me for Yankees. Probably both, whichever one of them doesn't stay in the rotation will probably pitch in long relief. But it's tough. Some of these rotations, you don't know. I think like Seattle's kind of that same way, where they have probably the 4 clear guys that they're going to throw, but Bryce Miller is pretty good too.
Yeah, and Wu is, had the minor injury. I don't know what the latest on him. There's no IL stint planned for him. Played some catch 3 days ago, but day to day, so that's another wrench in the playoff rotation there. All right, let's keep it going. This contest, we're at 63% full.
I gotta head out. It was
excellent, Mike. Thanks for joining and jumping in.
Yeah,
this is my time to sign off as well. I need to make sure baby boy is put down appropriately.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Excellent.
See you guys.
All right.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Good talking with you guys. Yeah, absolutely, man. Good luck with these contests, and I'll see both you guys in the lobbies. Peace.
Bye, Nez. All right. Well, Jared, we no sign of Chris yet. You're here. If you got to go, jump out. I can talk to myself too.
No, I'm good to stay on until Chris gets here.
I've not heard from him, so I know he's traveling and be in a hotel. So if you got to jump off anytime, no problem.
Perfect.
We'll jump. We'll do this draft and reevaluate. How about that?
Sounds good.
Cool. So as you know, if you go over on Stacking Dingers, Nez and I interviewed you 2 seasons ago going into the season. I think there's probably maybe some takeaways still if you're interested in it. But as you're, in civilian life, away from baseball, more into, fantasy baseball and playing Underdog fantasy baseball stuff, how do you feel like your brain chemistry has changed? Is the pounding of being in baseball, and around that just too strong?
It's funny. I think for me, this has been such a fun way to kind of scratch the competitive itch still, where I think part of what makes Underdog so much fun for me is it truly is kind of a game of skill. And yes, we talk a lot about variance and tail end outcomes, and you got to get really lucky to win the dinger. But at the same time, I think you can put yourself consistently in a good spot to have a chance if you kind of know what you're doing and kind of have that eye for evaluation. I think especially in season-long best ball, where there are a lot of league winners that you can get very late in drafts at low ownership. And I think my own kind of dinger play this year felt like I didn't do a good enough job of getting after that. I really, I think I overly stuck to projections.
Okay.
In how I kind of built my dinger teams this year. And I very much kind of regret that build structure. I think the coolest thing about baseball is that player development is very nonlinear. And as you saw it with a guy like Ben Rice this year, where not a lot of people were drafting Ben Rice in the dinger, and he would have been a very valuable pick because he gained, 4 or 5 miles an hour of bat speed in the offseason, comes back hitting the ball way harder. And now his underlying, really good plate discipline, really good bat to ball skills, all of a sudden he's now an above average hitter because he can hit the ball hard. And I think trying to find the guys like that, whether it's, reading spring training reports, whether it's, using the past data on Baseball Savant, I think it's definitely a fun way to really, try to find your guys. I know we always have, those conversations of the young prospects. I mean, people got it right with Roman Anthony this year. I honestly don't think I drafted much Roman Anthony at all because he's, not going to start the season in the majors. His ADP is really high. I'm just going to, fade it. And he was unbelievable while he was healthy and, was one of the best hitters on that team. So I think it's for me, I know I talked about this the last time we kind of had that conversation 2 seasons ago, where it's a different puzzle that I'm solving, but it's the same kind of pieces that I'm using to solve it, where I'm using the same information on how I would evaluate players. It's just now, instead of doing it to calculate, how much they'll be able to help a team win, I'm doing it to figure out how many fantasy points are they going to score me.
Yeah.
And it's a different equation, but I think it's really fun. I love, the game theory, the leverage, the, stacking element of baseball. This year I really got into the baseball dailies, and that was so much fun for me. I really enjoyed it because each slate is a very different puzzle, because you have the slates where everyone's at cores and you're like, how do I treat the cores games? You have, the slates where pretty much every ace is pitching on that day. And you're like, well, who's going to score? Who's going to be the ace that fails? So I think it really allows me to kind of stay connected to baseball and stay attached to the sport, think about it in a lot of different ways, even if I'm still, not working in it anymore.
Yeah. It's interesting. My gut feeling this year is that projections helped the least amount in the last few seasons. I don't know. Is that a feeling that you have too? I guess you kind of said that, but what do you think that is? I mean, just anecdotally, the Brewers and Seattle, the offense being, while the pitching was still good, but Cal Raleigh and even Julio, it felt like a weird season, I guess, is the simple way of saying it. But I also feel like projections were not like super helpful this year.
Yeah, and I think that definitely was probably the case. I think it's hard to kind of pinpoint an exact reason why. But I think the one thing that I kind of tend to think of is the kind of advances in player development over the last, decade or so. And really kind of before Driveline was really seen as this like extreme place that only guys who were desperate to save their careers would go.
Mhm.
And now you have Otani going there. You have a lot of other, all-star players who are already, all-stars, MVPs, Cy Youngs, and then they're going there to try to get even better. And I think that makes it hard for projections because projections are taking into account what you did on the field in the past and applying the aging curve and the playing time and park adjustments and trying to predict what you're going to do in the future. But if you become a very different player in the off season, the spring training sample is too small to really capture it.
Yeah.
And so I think, especially with pitchers more than anything else, where just adding a pitch to the arsenal or shifting their usage mix, that can have a pretty outsized impact on results. And so you can end up in a situation where, a guy that has never been good in the past, you wouldn't expect him to be good based on the arsenal and how he's attacked hitters in the past. And then all of a sudden he has a new slider and then the fastball shape is better. And now he's getting everybody out. And I think it's really tough to predict and project that.
Yeah, that's talking about Driveline. That's something that I've been, dubious of. Like, every year, like, what's the list of the guys going to Driveline? Who's, but like you said, now everybody's kind of going there, but also everybody's doing other off-season work that they wouldn't have maybe done 5 years ago, even if it's not directly at Driveline. Maybe they've got their own whatever. I don't know behind the scenes if like it. Do you feel like there was a change in overall development of players in the off season recently?
Yes, I think teams are a lot more hands-on now. So teams are really putting together plans for their guys of, hey, here are the things that you did really well. We want you to continue to, sharpen those skills. And then here are some areas that we think you can improve upon. Because it's so hard to really make adjustments in season when you're playing a game every day. There's not a lot of time to experiment. You can't be taking, 1,000 swings in the cage every day.
Mhm.
And so I think teams are now really focusing on maximizing that off-season window of, hey, here's, a 3-4 month stretch where, yes, get your rest. But then when you start to ramp up again, here are kind of the things that you can focus on and really train that you wouldn't necessarily get to work on throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. All right. And I think probably like the future of fantasy baseball is actually figuring out when those things matter in the off season, and trying to tie, like you said, we don't really see spring training is too small of a sample size. So I wonder, as more and more AI models, or is there going to be like more public facing stuff that can get to those players? Like, it seems like if you want to make the best, like off season stuff outside of building your own projection system, is just being a news hound still in terms of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's always tough to kind of parse the signal from the noise. I think especially when it's like, we talk about with NFL best ball and training camp, where, everyone shows up to training camp in the best shape of their life.
Right.
And it's hard to kind of parse that for, who's just saying that and who actually means it and who that applies to. And so I think it's definitely kind of the spring training data will help. I think it's tough when I don't know if this changed this past season, but in the past, not all of the spring training parks had public StatCast data.
No.
And so I remember like this past season, the first real kind of like, oh, this is actually, signal and not noise, was the Ben Rice example.
Yeah.
Where in the first week of spring training, in the games that he played in parks with StatCast, he hit like some of the hardest balls he's ever hit in his entire career, including like 2 balls that were above his, previous highest max exit velocity. And so when you get something like that, you're like, okay, like that's sticky. A guy that's never hit the ball above, 108 before, if they hit 2 or 3 balls at 110 or higher, it's pretty safe to say that, they've gained some power, if the previous sample size had been large enough. And so I think it's hard to parse it. I think with pitchers, especially, sometimes you're going to see a velo tick in spring training because the guy knows that he's only going to be throwing 1 inning and is trying to kind of work on something or air it out. And then when they get to the regular season, they're back to their normal velo. And so I think it's a tough balance to strike. And I still struggle with it myself, of figuring out, how to go about it. I just want Sam Olsen's secret sauce, because it feels like every year he always has an incredible dinger portfolio.
Yeah, definitely. And a bunch of it, I think, is auto drafted too, which is even the more frustrating part. Yeah, I had the chance to meet Sam last year at the Dog Bowl, and he's not going to be giving away anything anytime soon. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, now
he might remain in the shadows making his money.
He is, I think, very clearly the absolute best player on the site across all sports. I think there's a lot of people that are very sharp and, do very well. And I still think there's a pretty clear gap between him and kind of that next tier, especially when it comes to best ball, because he crushes the dailies, but he really separates in best ball.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so I did get a little bit weird here. I did throw in with 3 Phillies pitchers. I didn't love any Detroit pitcher because I went into Detroit after Skubal was already taken by just kind of a chaos gremlin drafter. Goober here. Yeah, again, the name fits with the drafter.
The theme of
So
the
he
night.
had taken Scooble in the 3rd round, but I wanted to get in there. So I attempted to just throw Hunter Green as a potential 2-start 1st round, getting a little bit of Dodgers leverage there, assuming that, Cincinnati upsets them. So that was just a slightly different than the 2-team strategy I went with on here.
And it's always good to kind of
Thanks for hanging
mix
out,
and
Bjorn.
match. And I think that's the cool thing about playoff best ball is there are many different ways to build good teams. And I think the toughest part is that advance rate piece while still having the live World Series chance. And if you can sneak, some of these low owned weirder combos through, they could be pretty unique, especially if crazy things happen in the playoffs.
Yeah, and nobody did it here. That I guess we saw a Cleveland. I don't remember what we saw. We've been doing a bunch of drafts, but if you want to get super aggressive and just do a few drafts, go and build a Cleveland Cincinnati team. And if it's what you need and you get it there, you're sitting pretty. I mean, you're likely flush that money down the toilet, but I mean, who's to say that this team wasn't just flushing money down the toilet, drafting Detroit in their cold streak? So it's certainly something you can do if you're out there doing a few drafts and you don't mind, taking on the risk level there. So I have gotten word from Chris that unfortunately his flight has been delayed by 45 minutes, so he is not going to make it. We're coming up on 2 hours. We had planned to go till 10, but I think as we're dropping off here and losing guests, we're gonna call it there. So, Jared, awesome. Thank you for hanging out for the whole time. Always lovely to talk to you, and it's fun to get a little bit of the knowledge on the other side of things. Always, even especially someone just as nuts about fantasy as you actually are now too. So, thank you for joining.
No, thanks for having me on, Cheap. It's been a pleasure, and I'm excited to see everybody in the lobbies over the next couple days as I round out kind of my drafts, and very, very excited for playoff baseball starting on Tuesday.
Yes. I'm gonna have to get my YouTube TV subscription back up so I can start watching some the playoffs this week. We're at 65% about. We have till Tuesday at 10:23. In the past, this has had a little bit of overlay, or at least not filled all the way. So, but we'll see where we're going over the next couple of days as the drafts will start firing pretty quick as people start thinking that there's potential overlay too. So, excellent, everybody. Thank you for hanging out for these couple of hours and letting me get some drafts in, even if I had to schedule a stream to do it. So for everybody that was on the stream, thanks for jumping on too. And yeah, we're gonna call it. So good luck and go Brewers.